SmarkCast episode 10. That's where we get a lot of talk about today, so I want to hurry up and get to it. First off, of course, you have to touch base on yesterday. Ultimate Warrior passed away. Weird timing, considered he just went into the Hall of Fame and had that really good speech on Raw about death, basically. So, kind of a sad moment. I mean, I know that I did say that he did not deserve the Hall of Fame, and this in no way changes that. I still have my opinion, but that does not mean that I do not respect the man and respect what he's done. So this SmarkCast dedicated to the Warrior. Good stuff. I didn't know him, but he seemed like a cool guy. But I did want to cover Wrestlemania week. I have two questions during this. First, I wanted to cover the WrestleMania Today. There was this little series. It was like a 3-part series on WrestleMania. Happened on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. About 2 hours long. I could have done without the length, but it was actually a really good show. It was. It seemed like the people they were interviewing were kind of breaking kayfabe, and then the Shield interviews were awesome, and they had the extended video packages, which were really, really cool. I really liked those. Then we had the Hall of Fame ceremony, which I thought it was great. Lita rambled a bit, but for the most part, most of the people were talking about how she took too long and all that. But really, the stories she told were really important to her legacy and the reason why she's in the Hall of Fame. And I actually enjoyed every single bit of it. But some people really don't have really opinions that I agree with. Either way, we have Carlos Colon. I really didn't care for, but Carlito doing his staring at the Bellas as they walk away was actually really funny. A couple of other ones, Scott Hall killed it. He did a great job pulling the hey yo on everybody. And then you had Jake the Snake Roberts, which, nice confession here. I will admit that I cried during that speech. But I really didn't cry. It was more of a tear, and it may have been something in my eye. That's what I claimed. There's just something in my eye, man. Oh, God. But it was a really beautiful speech, honestly. I really enjoyed it. He really impressed me, and really humble and everything. And then the Ultimate Warrior came out and did his speech, which most people remember that more, but I just thought Jake the Snake's speech was a little better. I do like how he played to the crowd a little bit, which is great. And then it was time for WrestleMania, which the pre-show was the tag team belts. I called that one. I actually have, hold on. Let's see. I called that one, which was dead on. I had a lot of misfires on this one. I think I called half the show, something like that. The pre-show, I loved the pre-show thing that they did where they kept switching out the panel, where someone would leave and someone new would come in. That was cool. It kept it fresh. I liked that. They should do that more often. If they continue doing 2 hour or that hour, even if the hour-long pre-shows, great. Shield had a good promo in there. We also had the 4-way tag team. See, I didn't know that it was going to be elimination. I thought it was just going to be a simple, thing. Then the Usos won. I called that one, so the Usos was going to win that one, which that was a given, pretty much. And then Swagger and Cesaro did their break. They broke up finally, which was really cool. Cesaro's going to get it seems like Cesaro's going to get a major push, which is awesome. So then we had the epic opening for WrestleMania. Hogan comes out, does his little spiel, and then Stone Cold comes out, and The Rock comes out, and you have 3 icons in the ring at the same time. I was really hoping someone would get a stunner there, but it didn't happen. It would have had to have been The Rock, but they did the beer drinking thing, which was great. I really enjoyed it. I actually thought that was a really good way to open it. And then they had Triple H and Daniel Bryan, which to me was the match of the night. Easily the match of the night. So good. I mean, almost 5 stars. It dragged a little in the beginning, but it was almost 5 stars. So I just thought that was a great match, and I called that one. I said Daniel Bryan would win clean. I did say he would tap out, or Triple H would tap out, but I was wrong on that. He did get a pin, but I said Daniel Bryan would win clean with no interferences, and it was. It's exactly what happened. And of course, everyone on the Twitter everywhere was saying, "Oh no, Triple H is going to bury him tonight. Triple H is going to bury him tonight." I didn't see Triple H carrying a shovel to that match. It looked to me like Triple H put over Daniel Bryan, the exact opposite of what all these little whiners and fans want to say was going to happen. But either way, he won, and then we had the Shield match, which was I like the new mask they had. That was awesome. That was a squash, a straight squash. I said Shield would win it, but I had no idea it would be a squash like that. I mean, they came out there and destroyed everybody. That was passing of the torch if there ever was one. That's just like, here you go, y'all are running the show now. Fantastic. I loved it. Great stuff. Let's see. We had a legend segment after that. I'm reading off a book, by the way. This is where I keep my notes for WrestleMania. We had a legend segment where they're playing with toys. Completely pointless. It was good for nostalgia, but it was completely pointless. And then the next match was the Battle Royal. Went for 12 minutes total, something like that. And Cesaro won it, which I thought was. I said Big E was going to win it, so I was wrong on this one. But I think Cesaro was the better choice. Cesaro was the right choice to win that, and it actually kind of had a almost face turn feel to it. But it wasn't. And then we had Bray Wyatt and John Cena. This was another one I was wrong on. And on this one, even though I was wrong on it, the whole match felt wrong. Like, the fact that Cena won just feels wrong. I will say, he did make Bray look really strong, and that's good. He made him look really good. And I think this feud's continuing now. It did continue into Raw. And it was just, I mean, it was a good match, though. I'll say that. It was a really good match with a new chant being born where the crowd waves their hands back and forth and sings, "He's got the whole world in his hands," which was pretty amazing. I mean, that's a new one, and it was really good. I actually really liked that. You know, the match itself was pretty good. Good 3-star match, and Cena won clean, but that's okay. All right, next, and here's where it comes into just. This is where a question is going to come in, because the next match was Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. All right, so this was the big talked about moment. The match itself was not very good. It was good. It just wasn't great. You had Undertaker, which he didn't seem to be moving right. Brock Lesnar was kind of the lead of the whole thing. And then Lesnar hit him with an F5, the third F5 of the match. Pins him 1, 2, 3. When that ref's hand dropped for that 3, it was just complete silence in that whole stadium. You could hear a pin drop for 3 minutes. It was just complete stunned silence, and that is a WrestleMania moment. That will be remembered forever, because it was just so quiet. And then that 21-1 thing came up, and that's when everyone started booing, because they knew it was real, that the Undertaker really had lost. And there's a bunch of conspiracy theories going on right now. Oh no, Undertaker was supposed to win that match. No. The Undertaker wanted the streak to end to Brock Lesnar in like 2005 or 2008 or something like that. I think it was 2005. And because Brock Lesnar and Undertaker are good friends in real life, and he's wanted it to end for a while. He found Brock Lesnar, and he's going to end it to Brock Lesnar. Thing is, you've got to look at that 21-1 video that popped up. That can't be made in 5 minutes. That takes some time, and it was brought up almost immediately. So that popping up right there says that that's it. This was supposed to happen. It's over. Jim Ross talked about it on Twitter. Talked about how it was the Undertaker's choice to lose this match, and that's the thing that people don't understand. The people were so mad at WWE for having the streak end. So mad, but it's the Undertaker's streak. It's his thing. For the last 6 years, 7 years, he's been running it himself. He decides who he faces. He decides who he loses to. He decides who he wins to. He decides how the match is going to end. It all happens like that because he controls it. It's the Undertaker's streak. And people are mad at the WWE. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Because how can you be mad at the WWE for not... I mean, yeah, they could have said, no, you're not losing. But what's going to happen then? The Undertaker's going to get mad and he's just not going to wrestle. And then that kind of takes away a match from WrestleMania. So, I mean, you can't get mad at the WWE for something that was the Undertaker's choice. Bottom line. It's okay. I mean, it wasn't a great match. It was one of the worst, probably the worst streak match in about 6 years. And that's the sad part. It really isn't the fact that he lost. But that leads me to a question from Darren. Not me, another dude named Darren. He even spells it the same. Darren is one of my friends on Twitter. Good dude. You can follow him at excuse me, at True North 73. Good dude to follow. You should do that. But it's the first dude I've ever met in my life that has the same name as me and spells it the same. It's kind of weird. Hold on. I have to take a drink of water. Parched. But he asked. Let's see. Was the WWE/Taker correct in ending the streak, or should the Taker retired undefeated? What I liked about that was that he put /Taker, WWE/Taker, so both of them had a role in this, and he's right about that. Absolutely right. I think they were wrong in ending the streak to who they ended the streak to. Because the big argument is, oh, but Brock Lesnar's a part-timer, the streak shouldn't end to a part-timer. The problem with that argument is that The Undertaker himself is a part-timer. In fact, he's more of a part-timer than Brock Lesnar. The Undertaker wrestles 1 match a year and appears 3 times. Brock Lesnar has about 6 matches a year and appears roughly 20 times. So, who's more of a part-timer here? Another problem is that Brock Lesnar is not a young guy. He's not going to be around forever. It should have been lost to a young guy. You know, give that person the boost they need to continue on. So, in my eyes, though, to answer the question, I think Undertaker should have gone undefeated. I think it should have been done. He should have beaten Brock Lesnar. In fact, actually, I'm going to take that back and say the Undertaker should have retired long ago. The Undertaker should have retired after the first Shawn Michaels match and left on that high note. If you want to say no, he needed more than that, I'll go with what my boys at the Payback Brothers said when they said that it should have ended after End of an Era, which I'll go with that too, because that was another 5-star match. So I think it should have gone. He should have left it undefeated, left the streak, because that makes the streak all the more epic. But now we get the Undertaker losing a mediocre match, and it just didn't feel right. The whole match didn't feel right. The crowd wasn't even into it. I mean, it just, like, early on, Undertaker did get injured. He got a concussion, so that may have been what the problem was. But the fact is, the streak's over. People need to get over it. And my favorite one was a group of people saying, well, I'm not going to watch Raw tomorrow because The Undertaker lost. I'm just not going to watch. Well, that's funny, because WWE had its highest rating in some time on Monday night. So I don't think your watching mattered. But that's it. So that's your answer, Darren. Yes, it's. I think he should have ended it undefeated. I don't think he should have been defeated by Brock Lesnar. If anybody, unpopular opinion here, I think he should have been defeated by Cena or Daniel Bryan. But I just don't think he should have been defeated at all. It's sad, and with him being defeated, that pretty much solidifies his retirement. And the people that want Sting versus Taker, I personally don't want that. People who want Sting versus Taker are not going to get it. It's done. And I do believe we will not see Sting on TV for a while now, because the one person he wanted to face is done. But anyway, we're going to skip that match, because this is where it comes into, I feel bad for the Divas, because they had to follow that. The crowd was still in shock, still done, and it's just, okay, bring out the Divas. And they did. And they had the match that I said they would have. By the way, I said Undertaker would win that match, so that was another one I was wrong on. Anyway, sorry. ADD. So the Divas come out, and it's the match that I thought it would be, just a mess. I mean, there really wasn't any real point to it. It's just a bunch of Divas hopping around doing stuff. I said that Natalya would win it. AJ ended up winning it. It was a mess of a match. Wasn't very good. Everyone knew it wasn't going to be good. Those poor girls had no crowd, but but it did bring me to another one. Let's see, Luke, another one that asked me a lot of questions. He asked me some good questions. He asked me 2 good questions this time. I'll get to one now. And if you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at Luke, WILLOCK2. I guess that's his last name. He's a good dude to follow as well. He said, can the Divas division or the tag division ever be good again or made better? The answer to that is a simple yes. And it can happen by taking these 2 divisions seriously and stop with the squashes and give them an actual storyline. That's the main problem, is there's no real storylines going into this. It's just the Usos defending their belts and the World versus AJ. I'll get to Monday Night Raw here in a minute. People who know what happened on Monday Night Raw. And they really need to solidify the fact that these teams should be taken seriously. Having the Usos get squashed the night after WrestleMania is not the best thing you can do. But they just got to put more seriousness, more time, more effort into these divisions. Divas, stop giving them 5 minutes. They cannot tell a proper story in 5 minutes. Give them a little time. With what happened on Monday, we may actually get that, because we may actually have someone who can give us that. And that can actually help. I mean, just make these 2 divisions be serious, This tag team division. I mean, we've got some really good tag teams. We got the Usos, man. That's fantastic right now. But the problem is, that's the only tag team. You've got to build some tag teams up, hire some tag teams. Right now, there is one tag team out there that if you brought them into the WWE, it would solidify what we could get out of the tag division. And those guys are Nick and Mac Jackson, the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks can come in and they could put on a show. I love the Young Bucks. They're my absolute favorite tag team. Bring them into the WWE. The problem is the WWE doesn't take them seriously because they're 2 really little guys. I mean, these guys are awesome. And then maybe even bring up the Ascension from NXT. Do something. Bring in tag teams. Stop putting 2 superstars together and calling it a tag team. Do it. Just make something. Bring someone in as a tag team, and that's all that it's going to take. Divas, give them more time. Right? And then he asked also, this one's off topic, but I'll get to the main event here in a second because it actually segues into it. What wrestlers do I see leaving soon, and what wrestlers deserve a title? What wrestlers do I see leaving soon? Rey Mysterio. There's no point in him being there anymore. Honestly, he just needs to go. I mean, I liked him when he was in WCW, but he's gotten stale. He can go. I think ADR or Alberto Del Rio is on his last leg. I think he's about out of there. Undertaker's retired now. So those guys I see leaving soon. So ADR or Alberto Del Rio, Rey Mysterio. Sorry, I almost dropped the junior on you. Yeah, so those guys can probably go. Who deserves a title? I'm sorry, man. I have to say it. Drew McIntyre. Just take him away from 3MB and give him a push. That dude is so good at what he does, and he just deserves to really be out there. Really have a shot. He's never really had a true shot. He's had the Intercontinental title once, and that was a joke. So get him out there. Get him something nice. Another person, Dolph Ziggler, easily. Dolph Ziggler deserves another shot at the top because he's a workhorse. He's amazing at what he does, and he's gotten really good on the mic. Give him another shot. Give him another run at the top. Then we have, I'll go for a third with Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow should have won the title from John Cena. He should have won it. It should have been his. He shouldn't have lost that. I mean, the problem with that was Cena and him had a great match when he cashed in that Money in the Bank. And Cena put him over as a legitimate threat. Like, this guy's really good. And then they kind of just dropped him off a cliff. They said, no, we're just going to have him lose to a crap load of people. And for a fourth, just making an even number, Wade Barrett. If you didn't hear that crowd after WrestleMania chanting for Wade Barrett, just doing the whole, I've got some bad news. I've got some bad news. And the crowd says it with him. And that guy's got he's got what it takes, man. Give him a shot. So there's your four people right there, Luke. Wade Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, Damien Sandow, and Drew McIntyre. If you want a fifth, just to do a top five, Cody Rhodes. Give Cody Rhodes a belt too. Cody Rhodes needs to be up there. If you're gonna have him and Goldust be tag team champions, and then push them off on the pre-show, that's your hang-up. The problem is Cody's amazing, and Cody needs to be pushed. There's your top five. Yeah. Okay, so that's done with the questions. All right, which leads me to the main event. I called for Daniel Bryan to win. Daniel Bryan won. He met what surprised me? Making Batista tap out. Batista tapped. That surprised me more than not as much as Undertaker losing, but it surprised me because Batista tapped out. That's quitting, and that's kind of big. But he did. I mean, that was a glorious match too. That was the second best match of the night. I love the stretcher spot. The coolest thing was the Batista bomb and the RKO. I mean, these two could be tag team champions. If you want to pair two superstars up, pair Randy Orton and Batista up. But, you have those two that did that great little double team move through it, and then they put him on the stretcher, and he got off the stretcher and won it anyway. Even taking out the crooked ref and suicide diving Triple H, the crooked ref, and Stephanie. And Stephanie actually hurt her ankle on that. I felt bad for her because she rolled it hard. If you watch, she rolled it real hard. And I felt so bad for her. But at the same time, it's like, why the hell are you wearing 6-inch heels to a wrestling ring? It's so weird. But she did. She tweaked her ankle. I felt so bad. But it was a good match. I loved it. And I love that Daniel Bryan got his moment. Yes, yes, yes. Fantastic little ending to WrestleMania. And that's how it should have ended. It actually should have ended with Brie coming out and embracing Daniel, but that's not what happened. That's okay. It doesn't matter. So, it's all good. It's good. I loved WrestleMania. If I had to give it a rating, I would give it an A. because it was really, really good show. A lot of people are hung up on The Undertaker losing, calling it one of the worst WrestleManias in history because of that. But in my eyes, in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, people, I would have to say that this WrestleMania was better than the past 5 years. Easily better than the past 5 years. Last year's WrestleMania was terrible. WrestleMania before that was not very good. WrestleMania before that was okay at best. And the 2 WrestleManias before that were both okay at best. So this one was stellar. I loved it. I mean, people do have that hang up of The Undertaker losing, but to me, that's a WrestleMania moment and only added to the fact that it got an A because it surprised everyone. You can look up anything, and only a handful of people actually said that Brock Lesnar was going to win, and even those people were surprised when he actually won. There's a great picture, I forget where I saw it, of a man in the crowd holding up a sign that says Brock wins 21-1. And then like you see that, but then they have a picture of him after the match, and he's mouth agape, eyes wide open. He actually won. You know, and it's like, you know, you bring that sign saying that he's going to win, but you know he's going to lose. And then he actually wins, and that shocks you. And that is the very definition of a WrestleMania moment. So, I mean, that I will remember that moment forever. WrestleMania, The Undertaker loses. Man, that's powerful right there. Just the crowd silence in itself was powerful. But after that, we go to Raw, which I'm going to go ahead and grade that Raw an A too. That Raw had very little filler. If you take out the Fandango match, and there was another one later on, if you take those 2 matches out, you had a perfect Raw. Fantastic Raw, man. Oh, I loved every minute of it. The opening with Daniel Bryan talking, and then Triple H saying that it's on, you know, and us finding out that it was Triple H that set up the Shield, and you just knew the Shield was going to get revenge at the end there. The biggest thing was Paige making her debut and beating AJ Lee for the Divas title. That was insane. However, I love that Paige is champion now, and I love that AJ lost, because to me AJ's title reign was getting really stale. But I hate the way they did it. I hated that. I know that Paige hit her finishing move. I know she did, and got out of you know, the Black Widow, got out of, or whatever the heck that finisher's called. And she spun out and did her Paige Turner. I get that, but it would just seem so weak that AJ that would do AJ in. So AJ lost, and now I'm assuming we're going to get a rematch at some point, and Paige is going to start taking out all the divas. And then I'm also thinking, how is she going to defend her NXT belt? She's the NXT champion right now. Maybe it comes true. Maybe what we want, or what I want, and a couple of my friends on Twitter want, maybe they combine the NXT divas and the WWE divas. That would be glorious, because that would be a bunch of women who will actually get time. I would love to see that. So Paige winning, it could be something good. So I'm hoping it is. The other shocking moment was the Cesaro becoming a Paul Heyman guy. That made me go nuts, because the problem here is that he looked like he was going face, so it looks like he's going to be staying heel. But it was just so great the way they did, because I'm not a Zeb Coulter guy. I'm a Paul Heyman guy. And I lost my crap, because Paul Heyman's my favorite manager of all time, and Cesaro is one of my favorite superstars right now. And getting those two together is awesome. So I'm very happy for that. I'm so happy that Cesaro's with Paul Heyman now. I'm down. Thank you, WWE, for doing something with Cesaro. Now, later would come, I'm only doing the main points of Raw here. Later would come the Ultimate Warrior's speech, which, if you haven't seen the word for word thing on it, there's a picture that has Ultimate Warrior standing there, and it has exactly what he said. And what he said was basically, one day every man takes his last breath. and his heart stops beating. But what keeps him alive is the fans and the people that keep his legacy alive. And when he was coming down to the ring, he was limping. He looked kind of sick. He got up to shake the ropes, and he couldn't quite do it. He kind of just bounced him. And he did that great promo. He's showing that he still has it. And then he left. And the next day, we find out he died. And it's almost foreshadowing. It's very eerie. A lot of people are saying, oh man, with that, he had to have committed suicide. I don't believe that. That's not the way Warrior was. He was in love with life, in love with his daughters, in love with his wife, everything. So no, I don't think that happened. But it was a good speech. For those of you who haven't seen it, you really should check it out. But on to lighter things. We got the main event, which was supposed to be Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, and instead the Authority comes down and beats down Daniel Bryan. It was really, actually it's Evolution. They came down and beat down Daniel Bryan, and then Triple H comes out and he's going to pin him and take the title, but instead Sierra Hotel, Indigo, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield comes out and destroys Triple H and destroys the Authority and is left standing tall with Daniel Bryan, which I loved. But what I loved most of all was Triple H's last words before it went off air, which was, "You just started a war you can't win." And I just think that's beautiful, because now we're going to have a war between the Authority and the Shield and Daniel Bryan. What I want more than anything now is for Daniel Bryan to get some SWAT gear. I don't know why, I just keep thinking that. It's like, I want to see Daniel Bryan in SWAT gear, joining the Shield, doing the Shield fist. That'd be fantastic. I don't see it happening, but that would be great. So it's just a great Raw. I'm smiling right now because I'm remembering it, and it was just so good. It's very rare whenever you get a fantastic Raw after a pay-per-view, and we got a great pay-per-view and a great Raw. I'm hoping they can keep this momentum up for next Raw, or maybe even SmackDown. I read the spoilers on SmackDown. Don't worry, I won't say anything. And it doesn't seem like a great show, but I'm wanting this to become a trend to where what we have now, this Authority versus Shield, is going to continue on and be great. I don't know. I'm happy at where we're at right now. We are having a great, wrestling is starting to come back to me. It's starting to bring me back to my childhood, because it's starting to be really, really impressive. And I'm really excited for the future. But oh yes, a wrestling fan with something positive to say. That's very rare. Sorry, my camera's bouncing around. That's very rare that a wrestling fan, a smark, if you will, which is what I am, SmarkCast is what I call it, saying something positive and not complaining about the product we have right now. I know that's rare, but that's what you get here at the SmarkCast. You don't get a bunch of complaints, and you don't get, you get my opinion. And that's what matters. You get my opinion, and what irks me more is the fans that do nothing but complain. I hate it. I hate that, because just sit back and watch the product. What we have now is great, and you should feel lucky that you have it right the way it is right now. Everyone, all they ever talk about, all I heard on Twitter was, oh, the main event's Triple H versus Daniel Bryan. Well, here we go. He's going to bury him now. And it's like, in no way did he bury him on WrestleMania. And I sure as hell didn't see a shovel in his hand on Raw. And it just doesn't make sense to me how everyone just automatically assumes the worst. It just makes me angry. Or all the people that were like, oh, I can't believe it, John Cena just buried Bray Wyatt. He just buried him. No, he didn't. He made Bray look like a legitimate threat, and it was great. The way they did it, I don't approve of John Cena winning. I think Bray should have went over and had his moment. But at the same time, Cena in no way buried Bray Wyatt. He looked great. So stop with the burying talk. It's dumb. No one's burying anybody, except for maybe the Shield burying Outlaws and Kane. That was kind of a burial, but that was more of a passing of a torch. But I'm setting steady at, I gotta check it. I have to put my arm up to see my clock. 34 minutes, I think I'll cut it here. I was planning on doing an hour, but I decided to just cut through just cut through and do the main points of all the shows. That way I wouldn't spend an hour rambling. But I'll cut it here, leave it at 30 minutes. This will be on YouTube Thursday. If you're watching it, it is Thursday. Yay. So just want to thank you for watching. I wanted to thank all the people that watched my predictions. I had 60 views. I know that doesn't seem like a lot on YouTube nowadays, but to me, I don't have any advertising. I'm just a dude with a camera talking, and getting 60 views is actually quite impressive to me. So thank you for watching last SmarkCast. Hopefully you'll watch the next SmarkCast. Hopefully I've got you wanting to watch, just keep watching me. I would love that. So thank you for watching. I am Minus Darren. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Minus Darren, MINUSDARRIN. If you want to send me some questions, some hate, some love, send it to that, or send it to my email address, which is SmarkCast, SmarkCast, @gmail.com. That will come to my email address. Leave me some comments. Like this video if you dig it. I have a couple of subscribers. Most of them are my friends. Shout out to B Man. Bryce is my boy from the Payback Brothers. And Markel. I'm sure he's listening too. But just leave some comments. Like it. Do what you will. Thank you for watching once again. I am Minus Darren. This is the SmarkCast.